Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are talking about Pokemon Scarlet. I completed it a couple of days ago. I found it very difficult to write a review from a neutral standpoint of this game. So what I've done is I've kind of taken my personal opinion and just written down some things that I like and some things that I dislike. So this isn't going to be a review, it is just from my own personal opinion of likes and dislikes for the game. My first like then is going to be the story. I thought the story was absolutely fantastic. Definitely my favourite story since Pokemon Yellow. So I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's a bit hard to talk about the story because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But yeah, I found one of the side stories particularly emotional, and I was just, if you've completed it, you'll know what that is. But I was just desperate to keep playing and playing to try and make sure I found out what happened in part of the side story. But I did feel that because the story was so strong, I think this would have worked as a more linear game. I don't think it needed to be open world if you've got a story as good as the one in Scarlet and Violet. This sounds like I absolutely hated the game, but that was my only kind of like of the game. But when I say the story was that good, it was incredible. So that was a huge like. And it sounds like I'm just going to rip into the game and I've got a lot of dislikes, but it's just personal for me. And as I say, I did love my whole playthrough because the story was just that good. But we're going to go on to a few dislikes now. If you've watched a few videos of mine before, you'll know that cel shaded artwork is just my absolute favourite art style. I absolutely love it. And it's in this game, it's both a like and a dislike, because there were certain parts of the game I just thought looked really fantastic. A lot of the trainer designs, some of the individual Pokemon, and there were certain places in the game that I just thought looked brilliant. And then you go to a different area and you know, it just looked terrible. The artwork looked absolutely dreadful. And for someone who absolutely loves cel shaded artwork, it did infuriate me that it was like two different games. It's like, I don't understand why one part of the game can look so good and then other parts of the game just look shocking. So that is both a like and a dislike. It is something that they definitely need to improve because some of the areas were terrible. Again, another both like and dislike, and I apologise about my pronunciation, but the terrestrialized Pokemon, it wasn't the concept. I actually enjoyed the concept. I thought it was quite a good idea, and I liked that part of the game. But it was just the cutscene of it. I stopped using it because it just seemed to take forever, and every time you were fighting one of the gym leaders or when you got to the Elite Four, etc., the last Pokemon, they always did it and it just seemed to go on forever. So I stopped using it just because I couldn't be bothered to wait for the whole show of terrestrializing or whatever you call it. I couldn't be bothered to wait for it. So if they could just get rid of how long that took, keep it in the game. I enjoyed it, but yeah, the cutscene would just went on and on forever for that. The next two dislikes, they kind of roll into one another. So I found the game just to be ridiculously easy. It was only when I got to the very last part of the Elite Four that I actually struggled slightly, and even then I did win the battles. So it was just unbelievably easy. When I say they roll into one then, so what I'm talking about is the open world. And I think it's because of having an open world Pokemon game has made the game far too easy. So I found that if I just went to a couple of areas where I was just slightly higher in level of all the Pokemon, I could throw my Pokemon out, let them run around battling, and I could just level up ridiculously quickly. And then there were certain huge areas of the map where it was like, I don't even want to go and explore that area because I don't want to accidentally get into a Pokemon battle and it's just going to be boring because it's going to be over in seconds, and I just chose to avoid certain areas. I actually spent a lot of the time around the lake because I found that part to be an actual... It wasn't even that challenging, but at least the Pokemon level was quite high, so it meant I could actually have some fun battles and test out Pokemon. The same way, if you wanted a certain Pokemon and you wanted to get a lower level one, you can just stick them in your party and the XP share is going to level them up very quickly anyway. I'm all for an open world Pokemon game, but they just need to work out a way to make the game more challenging. So rather than having sections of the map set out for, say, level 10, 20, 30, 40, etc., it would be nice to just see a little bit more of a balance spread out around the map. The same with, obviously, the Pokemon battles or the Pokemon trainer battles that you meet in the wild, because they're not automatic now, and even then they seem to only have one Pokemon, and they were just so easy. Like before, at least you might have someone with like 6 Magikarps or something like that, which is a bit boring, but at least it made you work a little bit for it. But yeah, the Pokemon trainers spread out through the map, they're all low level and they all seem to have one Pokemon in their party, which just seemed a little bit strange. So I'm all for the open world, but they need to work out how to make that more challenging and spread some of the levels of the Pokemon out around the map. This last one is just really personal, but I didn't like the new Pokemarts and the Poke Centres. I miss having that personal touch of going inside and going up to the counter and stuff. It sounds stupid, but yeah, I just didn't like the sort of... It was like a market stall or something, like a market trader, and you just walked over. It just seemed a little bit odd. I know why they've done it. It's to obviously avoid load screens, so yeah, that makes sense. So they've obviously done that to try and make the game a little bit quicker, to avoid obviously having to go indoors and things loading and stuff like that. So that's fine if that's why they've done it, but I really hope they do bring back proper Pokemarts and Poke Centres further down the line, because yeah, just did not like that one bit. The last thing then, it'd be stupid not to actually bring it up when you're talking about Scarlet and Violet, but yeah, the frame rate, they've got to sort the frame rate out. I didn't have any glitches or anything like that, so I was quite lucky, but the frame rate drops and the slowdown, yeah, it ruined the game, so they've got to try and fix that. Like I say, they were lucky that the story was so good, but yeah, let's hope that they can get a fix out. I know there's obviously been a couple of patches already, and I played through everything in handheld mode, so it maybe wasn't as bad for me, but some of the stuff I've seen when people have played through on the TVs just looks shocking. So yeah, hopefully they can get that fixed, and you'll actually have a relatively decent game on your hands. But yeah, let's get that frame rate at least locked out to 30. That's it then from me, so just some likes and dislikes. It is a good game and I have really enjoyed it, but I know it sounds like there's a lot of dislikes there, just maybe some personal opinion. Hopefully they can get a fix out, and if they can get rid of that slowdown and the frame rate issues, I do think you've got a pretty good game on your hands. It probably needs a little bit more work into it, but I think Pokemon is heading in the right direction. Hopefully they can find a way to improve some of the open world designs and things like that. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new, hit subscribe. Thanks a lot guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.